PFT Live Tuesday edition. Matthew Stafford, 35 years old, second oldest starting quarterback in the NFL. Now that Tom Brady's gone, it doesn't take as much as it used to be one of the oldest quarterbacks in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers is the oldest at 39. Stafford's 35. He's trailed just by Ryan Tannehill and Kirk Cousins and soon-to-be 35-year-old Russell Wilson. Believe that one. That one's a tough one to come to terms with. Anyway, Kelly Stafford, Matthew's wife, has a podcast, and she recently spoke about issues that Stafford is having connecting with the younger players who are populating the locker room. Have a listen to what Kelly Stafford had to say.
He's like, I feel like I can't connect because in the old days, you would come out of practice, you'd shower. This is during training camp. Shower. People would be playing cards. People would be interacting. Who knows what they're doing, But they're doing something together. They're playing ping pong. They have a tournament going on, doing something. They're at least talking. He said now they get done with practice or get done with meetings during training camp, and they go straight to their phones. Like no one looks up from their phone. So Matthew was like, I don't even know how to. Am I the dad? Do I take the phones? Like, what do I do here? I mean, and he's like, I want them to see me as like, not as like he's like as a coach, he feels like they say like sir to him. And he's like, no, we're on the same level here. We're both playing in this league. Like, let me get to know you. But he said it's so different and so hard to get to know these guys. He had a book printed out. He asked his equipment guys, right, to have a book printed of all the guys' faces and their names. Because he's like, I need to know their names. I feel like we don't ever talk. So now I'm going to find their names and I'm going to know, and I'm going to be like, hey, so-and-so, how was your weekend? Like so that they know that I know them and maybe we should get to know each other. Like, so there's some chemistry on the field.
Now, I think that's an important point, big picture, because you need to have chemistry on the field. You need to know your teammates. You need to be comfortable with the guys that you are dealing with. And I've always thought that Matthew Stafford is kind of a reluctant leader. He's never really wanted to be a leader in that classic sense. I remember when Reggie Bush suggested they have a team meeting in Detroit at one point. And Bush, he comes in with a Super Bowl ring, and Matthew Stafford's like, nah, we don't need a team meeting. It's like, I'd kind of defer to Reggie Bush on this, Matthew. Like, let's step up and take care of what needs to be taken care of. But as I listen to what she had to say, I mean, first of all, is he 70 or is he 35? That's my first question. And secondly, why are you expecting them to adapt to you? Maybe you need to adapt to them. That's how people communicate now. So get their phone numbers and start texting them, right? Isn't that the easy solution? Don't try to expect them to change what they are now doing. Infiltrate their way of taking in the world. If they're only communicating on their phones, then communicate with them, get to know them by text message. It's not that hard.
I struggle with what to make of these comments because to me, it's like a dude who's kind of venting to his wife about stuff that was going on at work. And now it's been put on blast because she has a podcast.
Oh, that's a different issue.
Now
that's a different issue altogether. I have a feeling he may not be happy with this.
Well, I happy or not, I don't know, like how much of this is really true. Because look, everybody needs a sort of like, this is what they actually used to call it, like a Facebook, not, as we know it as a social media site, but like literally a book full of faces so that you understand who different people are. I mean, that's not something that's unheard of. We used to get them in that building when all the rookies would come in so that we knew who the faces were, so that they understood who, like they could understand who we are and, all that. So like, that's not, I don't know. That doesn't come off to me as something that's that weird. But it's like, I struggle with what to make of that because I don't know really that he, like, how much is he really struggling? Like what, we don't really know exactly what he's been doing. And now we're going to, because now he's going to be asked about it because it is now a national story and we're talking about it. Right. So eventually Matthew Stafford's going to have a press conference and he's going to have to address these comments that were made by his wife that, she has the absolute right to have a podcast. And I'm not saying that she doesn't, but yeah, it's just, I don't know how much of this is really Matthew Stafford can't relate to young players. And it's like, or like Matthew Stafford was like, had a tough day with it one day. And then he's like, man, this is something that's frustrating me at work. And now it's a national story. And like, I kind of don't know how fair that is. Like, how much did he struggle to relate to Cooper Kupp? Right. I mean, I know Cooper Kupp is only 5 years younger than him, even though Cooper Kupp got in the league in 2017 and Stafford got in there in 2009. So that's a little ironic, but still, it's not like those two guys didn't have chemistry on the field when Cooper Kupp had one of the best receiving seasons for a player of all time 2 years ago. So I don't know, like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, obviously he will be asked about it. I assume he'll be asked about it. We'll see what he has to say, and he'll downplay it. And look, when you have a podcast, you want it to be entertaining, you want it to be engaging, and maybe there's some embellishment. It's not like he entered the NFL in 1989. We had iPhones in 2009. People have had their faces stuck in their phones for a while now. This isn't some new dynamic that just popped up this year. And I said earlier, and this is one of the benefits of kind of talking these things through, I said earlier that if he's got an issue with how the players are interacting with him or otherwise, he needs to infiltrate their communication devices and text them and get to know them that way. The other thing, too, is, I mean, think about what Peyton Manning would do. Because you heard Kelly Stafford say, what is he going to be like their dad and tell them to put their phones down? Peyton Manning would walk in and say, hey, put your damn phones down and let's have a conversation. Put your phone away. And Peyton Manning could pull it off. Tom Brady could pull it off. See, Matthew Stafford's never been that guy that goes into the room and starts telling people what to do, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm not that guy either. I try to lead by example. I don't like trying to tell people what to do. I don't like that because I don't like being told what to do. So if I get pissed off when somebody tells me what to do, I'm not inclined to tell anybody else what to do. You can relate to that. How often do I tell you what to do? I mean, I've got certain
subtly do your ways
quality standards.
Yes. Okay.
I've got certain things that I like to be done a certain way. And I communicate with you directly. I don't call you out on the whole thread as others would do. I do appreciate that. Yeah. So shut up about it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I don't know, Mike. I mean, I'm a generation younger than you. How well do you feel like you can relate to me? Like that's weird stuff. I don't know.
If you'd watched Back to the Future, we could relate a little bit better. Or if you knew who Mr. Plow was, we could relate a little bit better. But you are aware of peaches and herbs, so I'll give you that. I'll get out of here with that.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's weird. Aaron Rodgers doesn't seem to be having this problem.
I'm developing an itch on my forehead.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't seem to be having this problem with the Jets, but maybe it's because all those guys really revere him in a way. I mean, like Matthew Stafford, we all know who he is.
Here's why. I am any Jets player under the age of 25. Aaron Rodgers comes in. That's why. And see, maybe that's the deeper issue here. Matthew Stafford has never been, never will be, never aspired to be that guy. He's not the sheriff. He's not the guy that they're going to spring to attention whenever he's around. They're not in awe of him. He's just a regular, normal guy who happens to have a howitzer for an arm. That's who he is. He isn't interested in and isn't wired to embrace the other aspects of being a field general. And so, he doesn't know what to do now. Because Peyton Manning will walk in and say to those guys, put your damn phone down. Aaron Rodgers walks in and they throw the phone down. Matthew Stafford doesn't know what to do. He walks into the locker room and they don't even flinch. And he's just got to figure out how to deal with it. And the easy way to deal with it, unless you're going to start telling them, put your damn phone down, you get through their phones and you communicate with them that way. That would be my advice to Matthew Stafford if he's inclined to take it, and he would be wise not to.
Probably not. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. He now is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, right? So it's not like he doesn't have the cachet that comes with that. And I mean, I've not been in that locker room on a day-to-day basis for years, so I don't really know how it operates. Thinking about how it used to when Jared Goff was the quarterback and when I was there day to day. But it just it does. That's why it just. Because I don't know what it's like day to day anymore. It strikes me as, one day he comes home and he's talking about this stuff and it may not be as big of an issue as it sounds on that podcast. And now it becomes a thing where it really wasn't that much of a thing. It's just, one day he's like, man, this is really different. And now I have to find different ways to adapt and adjust. I don't know if it goes quite to the extent that you're taking it. That's the way I see it. Oh.
It's only on our radar screen because his wife decided to talk about it in the public forum.
Yes,
And by the
exactly.
way, another reason why, another illustration of our generational divide is you're not familiar with Seinfeld. If you were, you would really enjoy what I'm about to say, because when you say cachet, I think of Susan trying to tell George that the name Seven has no cachet, and his response is, it's got cachet up the yin-yang. With that, we'll take a break. And when we return, we'll predict how the NFC East will play out in 2023.
There you go.
More,
Play that
the
music.
piano. More PFT Live right after this. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.